So we're in the patient room, and I think they're going to tell me something about what happened to Rob, because I've still gotten no explanation whatsoever as to why he left, what's upset him. How are you taking my child? I didn't know any of this stuff. I had no idea what was going on. So the security guard tells me, well, we've been told that you're suicidal. So we'd like you to stay here. And I'm like, I'm not suicidal. I never told anybody I was suicidal. And I go, well, the young lady that you were sitting with just now said that you had threatened to commit suicide, and the people next to you saw that you had been crying. And I said, no, my husband I told him the whole story. Got a protective order. I came home. I didn't know what's going on. So he said, okay, well, let me call my chief, right? Now, at this point, the doctor comes in. Nurses are coming in. And they're telling me, well, just wait a few minutes. We want to talk to you. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on here? So the policeman comes back in and says, look, the security guard, he goes, I think I need to call the police. And I was like, why? And he goes, I think you're being held here against your will, and I think it's illegal. He goes, I'm just a security guard. And I said, I used to be a security guard. I know you can be held liable for anything illegal that's done. That if you knowingly do something illegal, that I can sue you personally, but I wouldn't do that. I was being nice to him. He was being nice to me. So he calls the police. Policeman comes in because they had police on the grounds. So once he called them, they came. Policeman comes in and goes, whoa, something's wrong here. He calls his chief. And the chief says, well, if we take her out of there, we're liable if she does commit suicide. If we leave her there, we're helping them to hurt her. So we have to get her out of that hospital. So they transferred me from FHP to Pioneer Valley Hospital in handcuffs and leg irons because they said that I would run away and go kill myself. Oh, yes. I get there. They let me sleep overnight, and I talked to somebody in the morning, and they said, after what you've been through, you're more sane than we are. I would have lost my mind. There's not one person there that said that they could have held on as well as I did. And I told them, if you had any idea what I've already been through, then you'd have a small idea of my capacities. They wanted me to have a mental evaluation under FHP because that's the insurance. So I go there, and immediately she's like, well, I can give you these drugs. I know she knew him. And I said, no, I don't need drugs. I just need somebody to talk to. I need to vent. Well, you really, you're in grief. You're not sad. Yes, of course I'm sad. Do you want to feel sad? No. Well, these pills will help you not. She's trying to hook me on a drug. Okay? God, you know how I feel about drugs. I don't like them at all. Okay? Unless it's weed. I love my weed. But I told her, I go, grief is normal. Feeling grief during a divorce, especially what I've been through, that is perfectly natural. What is not natural is trying to cover that up. I need to be able to process. She didn't know that I'd already been through thousands of group sessions. Okay? So maybe not thousands, but at least 1,000. Okay? So no, you're not going to sit there and nah. So that's after I got out of Pioneer Valley Hospital because they wanted me to be evaluated at FHP, right? So at this point, I'm starting to realize that they're setting me up. It just so happened that I was getting that girl out of Scientology I told you about, okay? Well, the attorney, it started with an R, Russo, Rodolfo, I'll think of it. He was the head of the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, or he at least had a big liaison with them, okay? The Citizens Commission on Human Rights is a subdivision of the Scientology Church. Aren't you hearing something over there? What ended up happening is the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, like you heard that Tom Cruise got in trouble for talking against the mental health industry, okay? I've already explained to you about pharmakia being sorcery. Well, they're very against drugs to cure your mind, because remember, L. Ron Hubbard opened a portal to hell. Remember, with Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley. So he knows about demons. They call them thetans and all this stuff that I'm going to add later. But he knew what was going on. So what ended up happening is they wrote a big long letter to the hospital telling them that they knew what they had been up to and that they were going to sue him. So they closed FHP instead. Gospel truth. We didn't finish. So, because this happened after, okay? So I got mental health evaluated, Pioneer Valley Hospital. That's why we're recording, so that I can get it right later. I'm at, because I don't like to think about this stuff, okay? They give me a glowing bill of health, as I told you. Well, they're like, well, no, we want, her insurance covers this, and so we want her also. Basically, he was saying, I want a second opinion, okay? That's when they're trying to offer me drugs, okay? So I'm like, that's weird. I didn't think that was right. But I'm still not confident enough and not old enough and mature enough to really believe in myself, okay? So I kind of let it go. I get a call about a week later. So this is about 10 days. I have not seen my baby. A baby, okay? And you know how committed I am to being an at-home mother, but he said, I can't afford the child support to the other two mothers. Can you please get a job so that we can afford to live? That was my husband. I was going to help him. So, where am I? Okay, so they call me 10 days. I haven't seen my child. I'm half crazy at this point, okay? And they go, oh, Jamie, we're so sorry what you're going through. And Rob knows that you miss, he just doesn't know how to go forth. He's really confused. He wants out of the marriage. He's had a lot of problems he's never had a relationship yet. The man, he already had one divorce and he has 2 babies from 2 mothers and you're the 3rd mother. You see what I'm saying? So we know what he's about and he's confused and he knows that you're hurt. He does love you. He wants you to come to the office because if you come here, you'll be okay. And I was like, no, there's a protective order. I can't come there. No. He works in the fish tank now. He's not in that private office, remember? So you'll have all kinds of witnesses. You'll have plenty of witnesses that you're not doing anything. So he knows that you want to see your son, so come see your son. So I get there, and Rob is very cold to me, and he's weird, and my son's not there. But his carriage is, okay? And I said, where's Ian? And he goes, and he walks out. He comes back with a security guard and has me arrested. I didn't even get to see my son. They said, he's in the fish tank. Everybody can see him. They set my happy ass up. I didn't know anything about the law. So I go to jail, right? That's a wonderful story. Because I get there and there's this girl that's about to commit suicide because she's like, Mom, I know that I love you. And she's talking on the phone with her mom. Fuck it, Mom, I'm just going to die, okay? So she's got all this meth in her bra. She's like, I'm going to fucking OD right here. And I'm like, no, you're not. So when they took, because God has his timing, divine timing, right when she threatened to commit suicide, and I'd already hit her from when she was just, okay, I shouldn't be admitting this, okay? Maybe I'll edit this out later. I don't know. But I believe you have a right to whatever makes you feel better. Okay? And I could see what she was suffering. And she said, come over here and hide me because the guards are walking by. So I went to go hide her because if I had weed, I'd want someone to hide me. Okay? Well, she was taking meth, coke, I don't know what. Okay? She was taking something and she did seem to feel better. Well, at this point, she's threatening to commit suicide. Well, that's right when they took me out to go talk to, how they come and get you from the tank to talk about your situation, your arraignment, Oh, are you guilty or not? What happened? The first people that you tell, why am I in here? It's the first people who hear your side, not the cop anymore. So I'm in there and the first thing I tell them, I'm not even defending myself. I'm like, she just said she's going to kill herself. She's got a lot of drugs. You got to go to get him. Don't let her die. So they go and they take all her drugs. Then I get to my case, okay? And I was very lucky because I was very upset. I had no friends. I called my sister. My sister said, remember, they know that they're stealing my inheritances. I don't know. At this point, they're hoping I die in jail, so they never have to go to jail. You see? So both of them said, no, we're not. And do you know how much it would have taken to get me out of jail? $100. with my family's millions, all they had to do is send me $100. And they said, Both of them blamed their husbands. My husband said no. Why? Because they know that as a Christian, I submit to my husband. Neither one of them submits to their husbands. They are ball breakers if there ever was one. They are the original ball busters. Okay? So I'm like, great. I call Dewey Bail Bond Service. Man answers the phone. At this point, I'm pretty verklempt. Okay? So I'm practically a complete mashugana. All right? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it. I told him the whole story. Okay? And he goes, sit tight. I'm going to come get you. And I didn't have anything. You know, I said, but I don't have any. I don't know what to do. And he goes, don't worry about it. And he goes, I'm going to come and get you. He came and got me about an hour later, maybe 2 hours later, okay? But during that interim, okay, this man was so cool. He got me out for free, let me owe him the money, and even drove me all the way back out to West Valley from here. And left me in the car by myself with it running when he stopped to post bail for another person at the men's jail. I could have took off with his car. Somehow that man, like my patriarchal blessing said, my words found lodgment because he was honest in heart. He knew why I wasn't lying. And I stayed there guarding the car, you know. So that, what a blessing. I get to, okay, so I'm waiting for the bail bondsman men to come. I get back put in there, and they came and took her drugs, right? So she kind of thinks she knows who told on her, okay? But she doesn't know. So she's kind of annoyed with me, right? So I'm telling people, and there's people saying, you know, I got in trouble for this. You know how people just tell you their problems. And I'm like, well, sweetheart, you can do this and you can do that. And like the one girl, she got kicked out. I knew about housing. I knew about this. I knew about that. I'm giving them, and this girl, she's already upset because they took her drugs and she was going to commit suicide. So she's upset. And she's just like, bitch, shut up. What the fuck do you care about these girls for anyway? None of them give a fuck about you. Why are you giving all this free dial advice? I'm tired of your fucking voice. Let me hear your fucking voice one more time. And I was just like, oh. And one of the girls said, didn't you say you sing Disney? Because I'd been talking to them. And I said, yeah. And she goes, if you want to sing Disney, I don't give a fuck. I didn't even offer to sing Disney. The girl said, don't you sing Disney? And I said, yeah, I do. And she goes, well, if you want to sing Disney, I don't give a fuck. So to me, that said, sing it. That this might calm her beast. You know, music calms the wild beast. So I start singing The Little Mermaid. I did Beauty and the Beast, you know, Tale as Old as Time. I did the Little Town, What a Quiet Feel, that kind of thing. I did Pocahontas, you know, the Colors of the Wind. So it's going really, really good. Anyway, what happened was, and she was getting really, like, for example, she took her shoes off, and she's like, fuck, I'm cold, and she's shaking, she's so cold. And I said, sweetheart, if you put, and I sounded like a mother, you know how I am. That's how I talk to my kids. That's how I talk to my husband. I lived in my own little world. You know what I mean? So I'm still talking like I'm a mom, not like some jail person. So I said, sweetheart, if you leave your shoes on, you'll find that you'll be at least 30% warmer. And that's the truth. And she goes, bitch, shut your fucking mouth. If I hear it again, I'm going to beat your ass. And she's laying there and she starts shaking and goes, fucking bitch is right. And put her shoes back on. Okay? So at this point, they're starting to hear her yell at me, and other people are going out to get their arraignment, or whatever they call that, pretrial. So they're going out for their pretrial as well. And they're like, and they're hearing how mean she's being to me. Now, God would have told me if I was in real danger, okay? But they don't know. They don't have discernment. And they're like, you need to watch over her. She's really sweet. And this girl's trying to hurt her. She's going to get mad enough. No matter, if this girl just breathes, in a few minutes, she's going to hurt her. This girl has a demon, and this is an angel, okay? So they come and get me and put me in solitary all by myself, okay? And I've got my own little thing, and I'm over by the staff. And guess what they said to me? Where's all the music? And they had me singing all night long to them. They sure did. And they would come in. Do you know any Beatles? Hey, Jude. I'd just start singing. I wouldn't even tell them what I was going to sing. They'd say, well, how about some Rodstadt? You know, I mean, I'd pull it out, you know. And I think God was helping me. And I don't know if you've ever, yeah, you have been to jail. I'm still mad at her. That was a trumped up charge because I saw you pay that money. Okay, the thing is that Is there anyone with better acoustics? Okay, so my voice was carrying, you know what I mean? So it was so much fun. So I get to court, right? Remember, he takes me back home. I go to court. Rob doesn't even show up. The judge said, "What happened, Mrs. Richens?" And I told him again. And he goes, "Do you want me to arrest him?" I was in love with my husband. No. And he goes, "You better go tell your husband that he better be very glad that he did not show up to court today, because I would have him thrown in jail right now for contempt of court, for filing false police reports, and all kinds of stuff, for setting me up, obstruction of justice, wasting the court's time, all kinds of crap." But I told him I wanted my marriage back. So I was really trying to play ball with him as much as I could, because I didn't realize that he was with Miss 911. And he had that hot nurse I didn't know about. And at the beginning of the divorce, you know what he'd do? He'd use their cell phone. And he'd use other people's cars. And he'd say, "If you want to see Ian," because it was ordered that I should be able to see my son. And he said, "If you want to see Ian," and even though I had temporary custody at the time and stuff, he would say how he got custody. I had it temporarily. He'd say, "Can you meet me? So, how about you meet me at Burger King at 4 o'clock?" So I'm there at 3:45. Waiting. 5 o'clock goes by. I'm paging. Meanwhile, he's got a different hot nurse every time. "I'm scared of her. Can you sit with me so that when I give her the son, my son, that I'm not alone and you can be a witness?" And then she'll sit there in the car with him for an hour, maybe 2, waiting for me, and she can witness for him that I never even showed up, because they were at McDonald's when he told me Burger King. He did that to me 4 separate times. First one, "I'm sorry, I had a really bad migraine and I really thought I said Burger King. I'm so sorry." I believed him. Second time, "Oh my God, I know you're going to think it's on purpose because of what happened. Oh man. Next time you page me, if you page me twice, I'll know that it's important and I'll know it's you." Same shit happened. "Rob, you said to page me." "Look, I'm doing the best I can. All right? Just go with the flow." On the 4th time, I told him, I go, "Rob, this is not okay." And I called one of his friends to say, "What is going on? I don't even know why he left." And he said, "You don't know he's boning 2 other women? You don't know that piece of crap," he called him something much worse, "we're all jealous of him for being with you, and he's playing you like a fiddle. We want to break his damn neck. We hate him." And he had told me that they were starting to tease him. They were starting to leave comics on his door, talking about how he worked in the fish tank. That's how they came up with that. They were doing all this stuff, and it was getting more and more hostile. I had no idea it had to do with him cheating on me. But they were starting to hate him worse and worse and worse. And he said he's having nurses, hot nurses. He's asking them that for his physical sake, they don't know that you'll never see 411. All they know is that he's scared of his ex-wife, and he's a short man. He's a little guy. So they feel sorry for him, and he gets to sit there staring at boobs, having fun with them, smelling their perfume with his cute little, and Ian was a chick magnet, believe me, because he was beyond gorgeous, okay? And so what ended up happening is this guy told me, he goes, "Don't meet with him again." He goes, "You need to wait until court." So I'm waiting till court. He's got my son with him. Court's actually 3 days from now. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to start any trouble. And I mean, it's like hanging on the edge of a cliff being without your baby, okay? And I was already going through hell, okay? And he knew it, because the point is, I went into the depression in the first place. Who feels anything but fat and ugly after they've just had a baby? And I didn't tell you the trauma I went through at FHP. They literally came and grabbed my son. No lab coat, no label, just a woman. After I know this man's been cheating on me several times, this woman I don't know comes and just picks up my baby and doesn't even say hello to me. And I'm in bed, wide awake. And I say hi to her, and she doesn't say hi back to me. If that's not fucking satanic, what is? And she picks up my child. And I said, where are you going with my baby? I yelled it loud enough for everybody to hear down the hall. And she said, we're taking him for circumcision. I said, I haven't decided on that yet. And she goes, the father has decided. It's his decision. I swear to God that happened to me there. And while I was there, I watched them holding the babies in a way that the heads were flopping all over the place. They were holding them like laundry. I wrote a written complaint during my pregnancy about how they handled the babies. So when all that crap came down, where they had me falsely accused and trapped in that hospital, and then they had me falsely arrested, that's 3 strikes. At that point, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights had them dead to rights, and they were going to shut that shit down. I'm not after money. That's not my deal. So they said, look, do you want to go after the money, or do you want them shut down? I said, I'd rather it was shut down. Those are bad people. They need to start fresh somewhere else. Well, it turns out all of FHP went down. I don't know why. My guess, maybe ours falling down got talk going, and other places had little issues as well. Because it's mighty strange that the 4 separate times I saw atrocities, they just happened to be happening. I think that they were happening quite on the steady, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So, what ended up happening is hold on a second.